two great new special teams coaches at the Niners, and I think Junior's got a chance to make that team. Colt Anderson, the assistant, played for me here, and then played 8 years or 9 years in the NFL. And then Brant Boyer is an old friend. His son's actually a kicker on our team here, so I know those guys really well. Um, with Brant being an actual specialist in the league for many years and then coaching it, they get and Colt playing the positions on the teams. They have a really good blend of know-how on that staff, and I think they'll make a difference.
All right, well, this is great. The 49ers drafted in the 7th round a man who can really help the team. 7th round, pick 252, Junior Bergen, the FCS return specialist of the year, an All-American, all-Big Sky punt return, receiver, all-purpose, almost 4,500 all-purpose yards. It's from Billings, Montana. He grew up a Niner fan, and his head coach, Bobby Hauck, has had a ton of success. And now also coaches special teams, which is, as we'll talk about, more and more unique. 18 playoff wins in 14 years at Montana, 5 straight full seasons with a playoff win at Montana. And Coach, I'm sure it probably doesn't get old seeing your guys get drafted in the NFL.
It's always exciting. It's interesting the way things are right now, Guy, with the transfer portal being what it is in college football and all that. You're seeing fewer and fewer guys drafted from the non-Power 4 conferences. But it's really cool to get your guys drafted. We've had a lot of guys over the years here, and Junior's the most recent one, and you're going to like him when you get to know him.
I watched his interview. That's where I saw that he said his dad was a Niner fan. He was a Niner fan. He's from Billings.
Yeah, Billings Senior High School.
So, part of my preparation to talk to you was you're looking at a map and you're going, holy smokes, Montana is a big state. Well, it's the Montana's 4th largest state in the country by square miles.
And it's right. It's just a few miles behind California where you reside in terms of square mileage, but it's a lot more distance between schools in Montana than in California.
So what is it like? You're scouting, you're looking for guys. I don't know if you're watching guys thinking, is this guy a pro? But when you see a pro in the state, it must stand out to you. Even if I don't know if you recognize right away that a guy might be a pro, but when you see a real college football player in the state, it must stand out to you.
Yeah, the guys that you'd say are a surefire NFL guy, we probably don't get. They're going to Alabama and Texas. But we're like, back in your days when you were covering the Mountain West Conference, we're like that. We're a developmental program. We bring guys in that have potential, have athletic ability, and have something about them we like, and then we try to develop them. And that was certainly Junior. We thought he was a great prospect for us in high school, and certainly he was.
What makes him a fit, you think? What was your reaction when you saw the Niners draft him?
Well, he's really a good football player. All right. He played everything from taking plays at quarterback and running back to us, as well as being a receiver and a returner. Another thing is, in terms of the punt return touchdowns, he's an NCAA record holder. When they say record holder, that means no one else has ever done it before. And there's been some pretty good players before him. So he's got some pedigree. We've had a lot of guys go on and play in the NFL out of this university, and he certainly has a chance to make that team. He's got great football instincts. He's a natural player.
You guys were off the charts. I mean, to see 17 yards per return on punt return, and you had him plus you because you're the special teams guy, 3 touchdowns on punt return last year. 17 yards is an insane amount of average punt return yardage.
Well, it's a lot. I mean, our goal is to be 10, to be double digits. So, when you're almost doubling that, that's special. Obviously, we have a few different types of returns. It depends on who we have returning, what we're trying to get. One of them's more of a home run thing. One of them's more to get yards and create a little field position. And the best thing about Junior is he was good at both, and he was a pretty good kickoff returner as well. So he's a good receiver. He's good with the ball in his hands, obviously. He's a great addition. As I mentioned a second ago, I think he's got a good I don't know what they've got. I do know they have 2 great new special teams coaches, at the Niners, and I think Junior's got a chance to make that team.
Oh, okay. Hold on now. Give me you've got a scouting report on, since you're a special teams guy, you got a scouting report on the Niners special teams guys?
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, Colt Anderson, the assistant, played for me here, and then played 8 years or 9 years in the NFL. And then Brant Boyer is an old friend. His son's actually a kicker on our team here, so I know those guys really well. With Brant being an actual specialist in the league for many years and then coaching it, they get, and Colt playing the positions on the teams. They have a really good blend of know-how on that staff, and I think they'll make a difference.
What makes great special teams?
I think one of the things that makes great special teams is buy-in, starting with the head coach. I think they have that there at San Francisco. It can be a vital part of the game, both positively and negatively. There's huge chunks of yardage getting exchanged every time the ball's kicked or punted. There's points being scored. There's drives being set up, and if you have great buy-in from the team, from the coaching staff, then you're going to have great special teams because everybody has this pretty much the same athlete on their roster.
There's got to be this when you watch special teams, you see there's opportunities to really screw it up. There's opportunities to try and do something crazy, or there's opportunities to just, let's just catch it, kneel it, give it to the offense, right? And now with the touchback, you see kind of a lot of that on the kickoff return.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see how that rule evolves. I think there's some pushback on it in terms of can be an exciting play, and they can maybe get the kickoff return back a little bit somehow. I don't know how that's going to happen, but it might. But we've never viewed it as a break-even deal. We viewed it as an advantage, somewhere to take advantage, great field position for our offense or our defense, and try to steal some points there. It is a volatile part of the game, though. There's a lot, when you punt it, it's the most dangerous play in football. I mean, the best you can do is get the guy down, right? You can get it blocked, you can drop the snap, you can, there's all kinds of things that can happen. You go from offense to defense within a play. It's an interesting play.
As the head coach who's in charge of special teams, and you play in a lot of big games, you play in the playoffs, multiple games in the playoffs every year. How do you structure? You've been a special teams coach on 3 other staffs as well. So I'm just curious, like in terms of attention to special teams, the head coach being the special teams guy probably sends a pretty strong message to everybody that it's important. But have you ever been in a situation where it's harder to convince everybody that this is important? Like, how do you make sure everyone understands special teams matters?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I mean, when the head coach is the special teams coordinator, everybody gets it. Everybody's going to help out. Everybody wants to be involved. That's a good thing. It's also, there's never been a perfect special teams game. Something always goes wrong in every football game, college or pro, in the kicking game area. So it's much more comfortable when you're the head coach. You're not going to fire yourself. So, things are smoother that way. But when I've worked for other guys, they always ask, what can I do to help you out? I don't know anything about it. And I'll say, just show up to the meetings, sit in the back. And if you want to chime in, I'll give you something to spout off about. But when the head coach is in the meetings, it creates some attention to it. And I think that's important.
It's interesting you mentioned Junior's record, which was what, eight punt returns for touchdowns,
yeah, 8.
Which is the FCS record. Watching him, I want to show you some video, and just if you could talk us through kind of what we're seeing. I think about the Niners once drafted Dante Pettis. Kind of, if you could, some of these are punts and some of these are kickoff returns. But what is special that's happening?
Well, one of the things is he's very secure with the ball. All right, he can catch it. He doesn't have a bunch of air there. He handles the ball. That wasn't an easy catch. He also has great instinct for where the return's going. So you're going to see in all of these, he knows where he's supposed to go, and the coverage team doesn't necessarily know that. Guys are working hard for him. That was a pretty good pin punt on the sideline. He got about a yard from the sideline, but those guys have great belief in him. They're working hard for him, and he has an understanding of where the other people are on the field, what his blockers are trying to do, and how to set it up. And you can see these where once he gets going, he's really good with the ball in his hands. There's a couple guys that have a shot at him, and he can make a miss and break tackles and all that stuff.
Doesn't let the punter tackle him on that one.
Does not. Always cut it back on that kicker. And then here's another one in a playoff game, and this is a different return than the other two you saw. This is a middle return, and again, those guys are picking it up. The blocks are where they're supposed to be. It's the same team he just returned the sideline return against, and then it's a completely different return. And then
your crowd looks like it's rocking, by the way.
Yeah, they show up. They're great. There's 27,000 of them there every game, and it's good stuff. Again, he's got kind of point guard ability, which means he knows where all the other guys are. Like, he couldn't see that guy coming to get him. He just kind of felt him, jump cut, off to the races. And you can see those guys are working hard to get him in the end zone too.
It's got to be a lot of pressure when you're with him to not be the guy. You can't have a block in the back. You can't have a hold.
Yeah, you gotta be a technician. Got to be disciplined. Gotta do it right. So that returner has confidence that you're going to be in a certain place, and you're going to set it up in a certain spot, and he can go get it. And it doesn't always go out like you draw it on the board, but it's pretty close. And that one in particular, I mean, that was a game winner there.
Unbelievable. I mean, why are people? I guess it's hard to not kick to somebody in some situations. You just have to kick to the guy.
The first one you showed, they had kicked the ball out of bounds every time on the punt. But punters they're not training to kick the ball out of bounds. They're training not to kick it out of bounds.
Yeah.
When they try to, a lot of times they shank it off the side of their foot for 12 yards. So they spend their whole career trying to hit a good punt and pin it a little bit, but not kick it out of bounds short. And so when you tell them to kick it out of bounds, we actually practice that with our punters for the end of the game, going, I may be telling you, just get this off and get it out of bounds. It's actually difficult for them to do consistently.
So I love this now. I mean, did the Niners draft the guy because they just have all the Bobby Hauck, Montana lineage now in their special teams? Did you know this pick was coming?
I did not know it was coming. I do know they came up here and interviewed him and worked him out. And I think those guys have a regard. They're from the familiarity that the Niners coaches have with our team, knows that our guys will be hardworking, they'll be tough, they'll take coaching. And then they got to decide if they're good enough. And I'm glad they did.
Well, Coach, this is awesome. This is awesome insight. Thank you. And I love knowing now that you've got some special teams. I mean, between players and coaches, I think you'll be a Niner fan this year.
Yeah. Hey, big time. Go Niners, baby.
Cool. Coach, thank you so much. That was really fun.
All right, Guy. Thanks for having me on, man. I'll hopefully see you. Hopefully it won't be 10 years until I talk to you again.
Yeah, that was probably more than 10 too.
my man, 12, 13.
Yep. All right.
All right, buddy.
Be well.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.